Good morning 81E and 1F. This is the Group 5 reporting.
The history of alternative energies. In 200 BC, Europeans harnessed water energy to power mills. Started in the country of Europe 2000 years ago, the energy of flowing water is converted into mechanical or electrical energy by a water wheel. Water wheels drove mills that crushed grain, produced fabric, tanned leather, smelted and shaped iron, cut wood, and carried out a range of other early industrial activities.
We will go back to the year of 1590, when windmills had arrived in the Middle East and Central Asia years before in the form of horizontal windmills in around 635 AD and had spread out throughout wide areas of the Middle East and Central Asia. In 1600, experimenters realized that the roasting method for making charcoal could be used to coal, yielding coke an exceptionally hot burning fuel. In 1700s, by the end of the 18th century, coal had begun to supplant contemporary energy sources such as wood, wind, water. Beeswax, tallow, and sperm oil were all steadily superseded by coal and coal derivatives.
1800s to 1899. In 1800s, process of electrolysis discovered. English scientists William Nicholson and Sir Anthony Carlisle discovered that applying electric current to water produced hydrogen and oxygen gases. This process was later termed electrolysis. The discovery of electrolysis was an important historical step in the development of hydrogen energy and the hydrogen fuel cell.
The current development of alternative energy in the Philippines. In 2018, the DOE or Department of Energy issued guidelines for the establishment of Renewable Energy Trust Fund. Its goal is to accelerate the renewable energy transition through R&D. The scheme is funded through various sources, including grants, donations, emission fees, and contributions. The Department of Energy also has other ongoing initiatives to support the adoption of smart grid technologies across the country's islands. Currently, the Philippines, alongside Myanmar, are the largest markets for off-grid solar in Southeast Asia. The countries have sold between 30,000 to 40,000 units only in the half of 2019. Other than that, similar to many countries in the Southeast Asia region, the Philippines faces the challenge of a rapidly growing population and rising energy demand. The difference, however, is in its response. Today, the Philippines is considered among the world leaders in renewable energy, with over 47% of the total final energy consumption coming from green sources.
Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin ang development ng renewable energy dito sa Pilipinas. Renewable energy has long been part of the energy industry. Ngunit ang development nito ay pinagtibay pa sa pagsasabatas ng Renewable Energy Act of 2008 o mas kilala sa tawag na Republic Act No. 9513. With the RE law, the following policies of the government was put in place. First is to accelerate the exploration and development of renewable energy resources in order to achieve energy self-reliance so that we can reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels and minimize the country's exposure to price fluctuations. Second is to effectively prevent or reduce harmful emissions and thereby balance the goals of economic growth and development with the protection of health and the environment. And lastly, to increase the utilization of RE by providing fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. Gayunpaman, lumalaki pa ang energy demand sa Pilipinas at sa ngayon, marami pa rin sa mga bagong tayong planta ang gumagamit ng coal. Pero, ang sektor ng enerhiya ay meron na ring alternatibong paraan para i-develop ang ating renewable energy sources.
Alternative energy, or much known as the renewable or sustainable energy, from the word itself renewable, It means that the source has the capability of regenerating, an endless process. We all know that sometimes in life, we tend to look for an alternative as a backup, or just in case we can't find any solutions to our problems. Same goes with these types of energy, such as the solar, wind, biomass, and hydro. For example, with solar, instead of using electricity, from the power towers, with the use of solar panels, it enables us to capture sunlight and convert itself to electricity. Voila! A limited source of energy in broad daylight. Just disregard the fact that solar panels tend to be pricey and would cost you a lot. Well, at least you don't get to pay bills way higher than a solar panel's price.
The second is wind energy. Every country surely has a specific place where wind turbines can capture the wind freely and generate it to electricity. It can be transferred to any electrical grid in order to meet other energy needs. The third one is the biomass energy. Release energy from burnt substance that contain stored energy from the sun. Example, woods, plants, gas from landfills, and municipal wastes could provide us heat or fuel. We all know that heat is very essential to us, as well as fuels for powering vehicles that we use every day. The last one is the hydro energy. Water is very needed in order to turn and give power to generators that produce electricity. That's why in some cases, drought season or no water flowing from the rivers will definitely affect our electricity or power electricity shortage. If dams reserve water, we as humans should also save water in our own ways. And then we could use the hashtag #SaveWater.
Concerns on different renewable sources. All renewable sources gives a massive benefits for each of us that may be used for our survival every day. On the contrary, these renewable sources has a bad effect on the things surrounding it. Those different renewable sources have the following disadvantage on its usage. On wind power, it depends on how strong the wind is to produce the sufficient energy. The turbine blades can harm flying creatures. Turbines can make mechanical hum which is very noisy and can be an eyesore if not properly placed in a good location. Solar power. The energy it produces depends on sunlight availability. The installation area and its size are also an issue, since the bigger the panel, the larger the energy it can produce. It is very costly, it can also damage your roof, and the reliability on this source is poor because the weather can affect the sunlight's reach, and its absorption is insufficient. Issues and concerns on geothermal source. It is suitable for zone-specific only, which is useless for cities. It is very costly, especially its power pump and distribution. Using these can cause environmental harm such as surface instability, earthquakes, and sulfur dioxide and silica discharge can spread with the air, water, and the ground. The temperature is a concern because it needs a large amount to produce a energy. It is difficult to sustain, hence the steam can run out and if the water is extracted faster. And lastly, in hydroelectric power or source, it has an environmental impact on fish migration, can cause flood and create greenhouse gases, displace fish and human habitat, very costly to build, and its construction itself is dangerous. Dam failure can result in injury or loss of life.
Advantages of renewable energy resources. 1. A fuel supply that never runs out. Renewable energy is one of the fastest growing forms of energy, replacing fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas. Unlike fossil fuels, renewable energy comes from sources that replenish themselves, such as sunlight, wind, water, biomass, and even geothermal heat. 2. zero carbon emissions. Electricity, heat, automobiles, and even air travel may all be provided by renewable energy. During the procedure, no greenhouse gases or other pollutants are released. Solar panels and wind turbines produce none of the carbon dioxide that coal power plants produce per kilowatt hour of energy. 3. Cleaner air and water. Renewable energy creates no pollution, waste, or contamination risk to air and water. Coal power stations, for example, release high volumes of carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide directly into the atmosphere. They also emit mercury, lead, sulfur dioxide, particulates, and dangerous metals. 4. A cheaper form of electricity. Solar and wind power are now the cheapest sources of electricity in many parts of the world. In the United Arab Emirates, a new solar farm recently secured the world's lowest price of solar energy at just 1.35 C per kilowatt hour. The dramatic decline in solar and wind costs has led to many fossil fuel multinationals to focus on renewable energy instead. 5. Renewable energy creates new jobs. Renewable energy has emerged as a significant source of new employment creation. Renewable energy now employs 3 times as many people as fossil fuels in the United States. Wind turbine technicians and solar panel installers, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, will be the fastest growing employment in the next decade.
For the disadvantages, first, higher capital costs. Renewable energy sources such as solar panels and wind turbines have continued to fall in cost. However, installing a solar system on your home may cost $10,000 to $20,000. Wind farms, solar parks, and hydropower stations require significant investment of land and electrical infrastructures. Second, electricity production can be unreliable. The effectiveness of solar panels decreases on cloudy days. Wind turbines aren't as effective in calm weather, and hydropower systems require continuous rainfall or a running water on river to keep production consistent. Third, energy storage is a challenge. Renewable energy systems need storage to capture and release electricity in a consistent and controlled way. Utility-scale batteries have gained significant momentum in recent years. Despite falling costs, storage technology is still relatively expensive, and there are lingering questions regarding its reliability and lifespan. Fourth is its impact by environmental conditions. Even on cloudy days, solar panels may create some power, although they are most effective in areas with consistently bright and sunny conditions. Large, wide expanses with strong and consistent wind are the only places where wind turbines are effective, limiting their practicality to particular regions. Renewable energy systems efficiency is also influenced by their location and surrounding environment. Fifth, renewables still have a carbon footprint. Despite the fact that solar panels and wind turbines emit no carbon emissions while producing electricity, their production, transportation, and installation leave a carbon footprint behind. Renewable energy technologies run the danger of overloading the system if they produce too much electricity.